good to go.
Okay, should we say who's here? Yes, we should.
No, oh, no, I got it. It's all
You
set.
got it? Okay,
Yeah.
that's all written down. And we can't approve the minutes, right? Can't approve the minutes. Okay. Ray, why don't you just tell us, I thought you were gonna go to you were gonna get an update from the affordable housing people?
Yeah, I got some research going on. I'm encountering an issue with affordable housing. The issue is that the way our citizens of Mansfield bring it to us is that I want affordable housing for me.
Oh,
And that is not how affordable housing works. If Mansfield offers 50 units of affordable housing, it's for anybody in the country.
oh,
So it's first come, first served. There's no way, it's not even legally. I'm getting a definite opinion the town believes, but I'm getting a definite legal opinion. You can't even make it for town residents. So when you offer affordable housing, you offer for anybody, anywhere. So, and I'm sure when people bring it up in town, they're not saying that they want to relocate people from Norwich or Hartford to Mansfield. Just as an example, I'm not picking them out for any particular point, but you know, when people talk about affordable, my belief is anyways, I could be wrong. But my belief is that when Mansfield residents talk about affordable housing, they want it for themselves. And that just gotta get your name on a waiting list and handle it when they get to it. And if we offer, you know, my guess is that I don't think there's people that make a living out of getting on these waiting lists. I mean, there's people that are on every waiting list in every town in probably Eastern Connecticut. So, you know, is it a human rights issue? Yes, it is. Is it something we can deal with? You can't make it, you know, if we're thinking globally and acting locally, you know, there's nothing locally we can do about this.
wow. Does everybody who's working on it, I mean, there's an affordable housing committee and they're raising money and setting up a foundation or whatever it is they do. Do they realize they must
Oh, I
realize?
think they do. Yeah, they do know that because people just come in. I mean, they offer the Section 8 housings or the friendly, you know, the certificates and whatnot. They know that it's for anybody. Some of the certificates are limited to residents because of the federally funded certificates are limited to like Mansfield and like 4 or 5 other towns.
Mhm.
But that's because of the issuer and has that right. But you know, I don't think it's legal for the town of Mansfield to say that our money can only go to town residents when it doesn't even come from necessarily.
Whoa, that's brand new information. Okay, Debbie, what?
Are you talking about the Affordable Housing Committee through the town of Mansfield? Is that what you're referring
Talk
to,
about
that
just
committee?
affordable housing in general.
Oh, okay.
We've
'Cause
Had that as an issue on our agenda for a long time, and
I see, okay, because
No.
I am on that committee and I have a meeting, we have a meeting
yeah,
tomorrow.
tomorrow night, I'm gonna be there. You know, because I want to bring up this point. I mean, if like everybody talks about affordable housing and it comes up, you know, Jane did a little survey as an individual, they came up on that, and it's like, everybody talks about affordable housing, and it's a wonderful concept, but if you want affordable housing, you gotta put your name on a waiting list, and that's it. We can't do anything to solve, you can't solve that problem, right? You know, how many people are, again, if we're thinking altruistically and we wanna, you know, offer units all over the state. I don't know what people think, but my guess is that, like I said, I don't think so. I think people, when they say that, they want it for themselves or for their children, and I understand that. My daughter lives in Willimantic right now. I'd love her to live in Mansfield, but can't get there.
Yeah, Debbie, do you have anything you want to add if you're on that committee? What else do you know that in addition to what Ray just said?
Oh, you know, our agenda is literally a mile long. You know, we get stacks of things to read, and I haven't even, all I did was read the agenda for tomorrow. I wasn't at the last meeting because I was in Cuba. But we do meet is tomorrow the second Thursday of the month? If it is, that's when we meet. but I will, be glad, or the first Monday, is it the first Monday of the first Thursday?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the only meeting I've missed since I've been on the committee because I was away. But if there's a specific question you'd like me to ask tomorrow or a specific piece of information you'd like me to bring back to this committee, I can certainly do that.
And just give us I mean, Ray's been trying to catch up with them and give us a general sense of what they do. And if you could contribute to that, that'd be fine.
Right now?
No,
No,
no.
Oh,
next
oh
month.
yeah, sure. No, I
think-
can.
I don't
Yeah.
think, I don't understand really what this whole thing is about.
Yeah, it is rather complicated to tell you the truth. Yeah, it is, yeah, because even I need to have everything explained to me concretely, because it is, there is a lot of complications in there, yeah. But I
Okay,
would be
yeah.
happy to do that, sure, yeah.
Katie,
Katie?
And then just in terms of some of the intersections with affordable housing that are worth further conversation for our work group, as well as in all of the intersections, and it's a conversation that's been going on for years in town, is when individuals do qualify for affordable housing in Mansfield with the Section 8 voucher, oftentimes those are individuals who might not have their own reliable transportation and are coming from areas that have public
Right.
transit that Mansfield does not, and it does make it a really challenging community to have successful placement in affordable housing residences when people do come up on the list. And so one of those things that's worth continuing to talk about alongside the affordable housing is looking at the transportation in town and how to
Okay.
make sure that people can get to the grocery store, people can get to their
Sure.
IEP meetings and PPT meetings that they have with the school when they have their kids there, that people can access the resources that would be available to them as new Mansfield residents, because ultimately the way Section 8 would work would be you're not moving one current Mansfield resident into a Section 8 voucher. You
Mhm,
are bringing someone in to become a new resident, which establishes, just a new resident in town.
mhm.
But just kind of that awareness of what transplanting looks like into
Yeah.
a very rural and spread out community is really challenging for a lot of new folks when they come in.
Yep.
Yeah,
The
good point.
transportation is huge. It absolutely goes together. Without that, the housing doesn't matter. Hi, Janine. I'm glad you could make it. Monica, does Janine make a quorum? No. All right, Janine, we're just having a conversation because we can't vote. We don't have a quorum, but I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, we
Okay.
need 4, Jane, so if Sabrina comes, we got one.
Yeah, I don't know where she,
Get
there's
her.
a lot of sickness around. That's all I know, because we were supposed to have a new potential member here named Cian. And I got a note from her this afternoon saying she's been sick for 2 days and she doesn't think she can get out of bed, so she'll be here next month. Okay, let's move down to community conversations, because I do have some good news about that. We are going to have our first community conversation. Well, it's not the first one, but we're going to have this interfaith dialogue on April 15th at 7:00 in the evening in the Quaker Meeting House. They are happy to have us. It's a wonderful setup because it's set up for conversation. That's what their meetings are. We have gotten commitments from a rabbi, a Muslim who is very interested in interfaith dialogue, and our very own Reverend Debbie to talk about what our faith traditions expect of us in terms of relationships and living in a community that has many faiths. So what I'm going to do is ask everybody to talk for about 10 minutes, and then I want audience interaction as much as we have them. Right now, we're going to have to set up publicity as well, but finally I have to get the last person confirmed and then we'll do publicity. Monica, yes. You're muted.
Okay, so now that we have all that, we should definitely put a proposal together for the town manager, because we are going to need him to sign off on the HRC promoting it as the Town of Mansfield Human Rights Commission's event. So I'm gonna get you in touch with Sharon Biggie. I'm gonna give you her email tonight. And then let's see if we can get you on his schedule to make sure that it can be promoted through Margaret and all that stuff.
Yeah, I already talked to him about it because he was in there
Okay.
when I was in there the other day, but I know I have to do that. So send me the information and I will do it as quickly as I can.
Awesome, thank you.
Did
Thank
you
you.
offer an invitation to all the churches in Mansfield or no?
We're going to communicate with all the churches in Mansfield, plus the chaplain at Wyndham Hospital, who is in a network of the whole faith community in the area, according to Debbie. And I think we have some pretty good
Mhm.
connections. And I also talked to Peter Dart, who is the superintendent of schools, and he knows most of the Muslim families who have children in the public schools. And he said that when we ask him, he will talk to people and see that how many people he can get to come. Because I think the biggest challenge is getting Muslim families to come. I think we won't have much trouble with Christian people and Jewish people, but Muslims is a different story. So
Did we, like, I was talking about presenters though, were all the faiths asked or just certain faiths or?
what's your question?
Like, did you ask the Catholic Church to be there present?
We're still working on that. The one person that I asked who we know is very good said he was too busy and couldn't do it.
Okay.
So Debbie's working on that for me right now, and we won't do any publicity until we have somebody.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
It's that end of the church. Okay. So that's my contribution to community conversations. I've been talking about this for 2 years, and finally it's going to happen, and I'm very excited. Now, Janine, your story hour thing is sort of in the realm of community conversations. Do you have anything to report about that? It sounds like it got very convoluted.
Yes.
Okay.
Convoluted. Finally got in contact with, her name is, I did use your contact of, was it DeVay Andrews?
Oh, Devon Andrews, yes.
Then I got to speak with Emily Webson. And speaking with her in regards to what the HRC would like to do, and with Carolyn Stearns, so on and so forth. Long story short, on Saturdays, their story hour is usually geared towards more the very young elementary age, like pre-K, K, maybe first grade. And I asked what her feedback was, and she said it would be okay, but she was questioning because, would they get the full aspect of it? So then we were talking about, I asked her, what about, the families can do the young, and then maybe we could have a different room. She's like, not all families have that type of scenario. She said Tuesdays or maybe Thursdays after school. But now it's springtime and sports. So we kind of brainstormed,
Okay.
Emily and I, and she said it could quite possibly during their spring break, they have activities at the library for kids. And she's like, maybe come in during one of those times
Is there, get that organized? When's spring break?
And that's well, that was just, one thought. And then another thought was, I asked her, I said, well, what about the summertime, what are you doing? Like what are your, and she said something like, in June, they have the start of the summer reading program. I don't know, when is vacation for kids? I'm so out of the loop with vacation times. Does anyone know
I
when?
can pull it up. I have the April vacation week is for Mansfield District, the 15th through the 19th.
Of April?
Of April, yep. And then the
Okay.
current, I believe, last day of Mansfield Board of Ed and EO Smith graduation is Tuesday, June 11th. I don't know if that's been changed at all with snow days or anything like that.
Okay. So Jane, what I was thinking is, and I told Emily, she wouldn't mind helping out at all with us. And if we wanted to, the Human Rights Commission would be the one that holds the, does the coordinating everything. But she wouldn't mind also with the library being involved. And so I was thinking, like, if we did something on one of those vacation days in April, and I did some research on little activities, whatever. She said, activities are a big thing with kids. if you are doing a lot of talking and a lot of instruction, there are not, well, even like fourth grade will kind of maybe be okay, but no, they want activity. So that got me thinking about doing something maybe during that April vacation. Use one of those days. And then I don't mind, I'm around, I'm not going anywhere in the summer. When she was saying the summer reading program for the June kickoff, I'm like, maybe we can do another activity with that as well. What better way to
So what we need
encourage?
to do, you need, if you want to do something in April, it has to be done yesterday. So that you can get publicity out there and get people to come and get
Right.
Carol's calendar. If you can't make that, then start looking at the summer and see how we do. But we need, I've gotten a kick out of setting up this one panel, and now I want to do other things, but we have to have dates,
Right.
places, and times. And when you can get that and it makes sense to you and it makes sense to Emily, then let's do it. And I'm assuming we're going to have to write another proposal to Ryan to get this to be an official activity. Is that correct? Monica?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
I would for everyone unless he tells you otherwise.
Okay.
Um,
So if you can get a time that and a time and a date that you and Emily think might work with the school program and everything else, then we can write a proposal to Ryan, and then we start doing publicity, and then we try to get people in, but it's got to be done in that order, and we have to
Okay.
have enough time to do it, okay?
That's-
I feel your frustration. I understand. Took me 2 years to get this thing to happen, and it just
Right. It was emails,
tear your hair
email
out.
not, right, an email that wasn't responded to a couple of times, and then a phone call, and then finally I got to speak with Emily Debson. And like I said, I've been looking at different things that we could possibly do.
Well, pick something.
Yep.
Make sure it's okay with Emily. Make sure the time is good. When you get the time, the date, the place, and the people, then we'll write a proposal.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you very much. I think okay. I don't think there's any other thing under community conversations. We have things that are similar, but they're under a different title. So let's move along. Let me, I have now got about 500 stickers for Happy to Say Hello. I have put the stickers and the brochures in the library, Liberty Bank, Town Hall, and the Senior Center. People are very responsive. They really like the idea that we have a Human Rights Commission. The brochures, people are responding very well to it. And we're putting little piles of stickers next to the brochure, but I need some people who are willing to go around town and figure out where else to put these things. And and I did it at the middle school yesterday, and Larry promised me that kids love stickers and they would all have stickers on them. So if you are willing to pick up, or I will bring to you or meet you someplace, some stickers and some brochures, and you know a good place where there's a lot of traffic, then we need to get these things out so people can stick them on their clothes.
Are they at the community center already, Jane?
Yeah, they are at the community center in the lounge. Nobody wants to put them on the front desk, but so they're all off to the side, but they're in the lounge at the community center.
Jane, what would be your off limits of where to put it?
I'm thinking, what did you have in mind? The
My
boys,
son and I just came back from that meeting
right?
at EO. HRC has a lot of work to do.
Oh, boy, does everybody get the thing I sent around that Janine sent me? That was really something. Yep.
Oh my goodness. But Ravine's sitting across from me and he's texted me, need to put stickers at Price Chopper at Starbucks.
Yeah, put them like for like a lot.
We could definitely do Starbucks. When we had posters, I put them around all over the place, and the only people that turned me down were Big Y. So if you want to write me, anybody who's willing to get some stickers and get some brochures, write me a note. I'll figure out a way to get them to you, and then you can go put them wherever you want to put them, because what we really want to do now is get them out. Everybody I talk to thinks it's a wonderful idea, so we just need to make sure we get them out there. And the one question I couldn't answer was, can you put these stickers on water bottles? Will they last? And so I stuck one on my windshield, and it's been pouring rain for 2 days and it's still fine. So that's the only information I have, but if anybody asks you that question, I think it will go on a water bottle without a big deal. Unless you put it in the dishwasher, that may be too much. Okay, so write me a note if you're willing to run around town and I will get some stickers and some brochures to you. And the one thing I do want to say is they ought to be in Mansfield. I've thought about putting them in the co-op and stuff like that, but this is for Mansfield, so we have to do it in Mansfield. Oh, and by the way, I put a note up on Facebook following Gina Barreca's way of gathering information for the book she's writing. I thought I'll throw a question out there and see what I get. And so I threw a question out. If you could have one thing in Mansfield that would make you happier or would improve quality of life in Mansfield, what would it be? Well, I think I've gotten close to 100 responses, and a tremendous number of them say, we want people to be friendlier. So I think this should be pretty well received. They also are mad about the fire department and the fact that there are no clothing stores in town, but those aren't, the fire department is right up under, we want people to be friendlier, and then there's a whole.
Jane, you've gotten 270 responses, and
Did you count them?
no, it tells you. And you said you're gonna present them at the town council meeting, and I think you gotta think about that.
Oh, no, I'm gonna do it. What I want to do.
Well,
is
just,
go
I just
through
wanna
and
say,
I'm gonna-
some of the ideas include a strip club in Mansfield.
Oh, I'm not gonna say that,
Well, how can you not say that?
because I think I'm gonna speak as a member of the community in no official capacity, and I'm gonna say, I threw this question out, and here are the top answers from people, and I think the town council ought to know about it. I will not include a strip club or a place where I can buy socks. Neither one of those seems to be important, but I will include, we would like people to be friendlier. And if you want to do it, you can do it, and then you can take it.
Yeah, I
in-
just think that if you pared the list down, you kind of put your own biases in there. We're trying to avoid those kind of things, and here you are.
Oh, no, I'm gonna be completely honest. These are my biases, and I'm telling you.
Okay,
All right, I never try to eliminate my biases. I got over that a long time ago. What I do is try to label them. And so
Well,
everybody knows where I'm coming from. Okay, new business. Katie, Pride Month.
Yes, so we are slated for Friday, June 7th. Similar format to last year. So the question that I think we have on the agenda is making sure that the HRC looks at the proposed memo. I don't think we can vote yet, but if there's any changes, we can put changes in, because we don't have to vote to put changes in. We can just edit it and then vote on
Right.
it as is. And then the question of, does HRC want a table at the event itself?
Uh-huh.
And is there anything that you guys would like to specifically do for that event? I think I mentioned last time, we'll have our drag queen story time come back again. So Mucho will come back and do story time like they have the past 2 years, and then we'll still be doing our anticipated like tie-dye that youth services staffs, and then showing the movie Netflix's The Prom.
Okay, I read the proclamation. I don't have any problem with it. I think it's fine the way it is, but we can't
Yeah.
vote on it, so therefore we can't move it forward.
Yeah, thought it was very well done.
Yep.
I would
And I
agree with
think
that.
background information too.
And Katie, did you say there's a celebration June 10th, or what did you say about?
June 7th is the
Oh.
Celebrate Pride event.
Okay,
so
and where is
the-
that going to be?
So that's at the downtown square. So
Oh.
it's like a movie night,
Yeah. Oh,
family event. So it'll be
Oh,
our
okay.
3rd year doing it. We do have a backup
Hmm.
location if the weather's non-cooperative or
Yeah.
Canada's on fire again.
Okay.
The community center where we ended up indoors last year, but we're hoping to
Okay,
be outdoors.
okay, great.
Okay,
If the
So the
HRC would like a
question of-
table, I will check it off as a yes, and I will put together my facilities request for as many tables as they will give me.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
Katie, do you coordinate at all with Kelsey at the Rainbow Center? I know students are gone and all, but do you like let them know so they can promote it at all?
I had reached out to them in years past to see if they wanted to table. They haven't in the past wanted to come out. I've done my emails to all of the returning tables. So I'm planning in the next week or two to send to people who haven't either ever responded to me in the past or who have said like, oh, we can't, but I'll still be like, but do you want to promote it? So we'll see. There's people that I would love to come that haven't come in the past that I spam every year. Like I would love to have the Hartford Gay and Lesbian Center come out. I would love to have I forget who else I have on the list. I'm like, no, come out. Like the Glisten chapter, I want them here. But we have a pretty good local set of turnouts, which is nice.
Great.
Okay, and I know Kelsey's been down staff, but this year is finally like, well, quote unquote, full staff, what that
Okay.
means for them. I mean, and I'm happy to send it on too. So if you don't hear from them, please, just let me know and I'll just go over there to them and talk to them. Because they're just inundated with emails. It's nothing personal with them. They just get way too many emails. So
Yeah.
happy to support that.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll let you know if I need them to get a little nudge.
Also, did you know that True Colors is coming back in 2025?
No.
Oh, that email came out.
I've heard that it's
Yeah.
coming out. So I just didn't know if we could get them there to start advertising or promoting it even at
Will
the.
they have
at
somebody in charge?
Robin McCallan's back at it.
Are you kidding? She can't retire.
No,
I asked. She just went to the
Capable
DCF
of
contract
retiring.
foster care program. So
Yep.
I don't know if they exist as an organization outside the conference. The sense that I got from the email was that they were just bringing the conference back.
right. But it might be worth them trying to get someone at a table
Yeah.
to promote the conference, even though it's coming, because I think a lot of people there would be interested in that's coming back and just to be for volunteering or just attending it. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
good idea.
Wonderful. Okay, I am very conscious of my Juneteenth idea, which is going to be about 2 weeks after this and not stretching our very limited resources too thin. So can we just hold off on deciding if we want to have a table? I mean, if all we want to do is show up, that's easy, but we may want to do more than that, and that may not be possible.
And if you guys decide that the committee doesn't want to have its own table that you're staffing or doing, but any members do want to volunteer, I can put you to work. Don't you worry about that.
Well, I will be there.
I'll volunteer. What, is there a time frame, Katie, yet?
So the event itself starts at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And then the movie starts at 8:30. So typically people who are coming into table or coming in to volunteer to set up, come in around 6 o'clock, get everything set up. And then once the movie starts around 8:30 at dusk, that's when we start breaking down the tables, just because the tabling tends to
Right.
cut out by then, and we start doing
Okay.
cleanup. And then I'm there until 11:30 when
Oh my
it's all
goodness.
clean and the movie's over and it's fun.
And-
Katie, what was the date again? Sorry.
Friday, June 7th.
And what is the movie? Do you know yet?
It's Netflix's The Prom.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The prom. Great. Yeah.
So they actually are letting us show that under their educational
Yeah,
license
good.
for
great,
no
okay,
cost, which
okay,
normally like when you do
right,
a movie screening
I
in public
know.
capacity, it's like $700. So I'm like,
Right,
okay,
right.
thank you.
Perfect. Yay.
Woo, okay. All right, we will get back to you on whether or not we want to have, maybe we could share a table with somebody. We'll see. Okay. Now,
I'll put y'all on the popcorn station. Like,
yeah, that sounds good.
I think you guys did popcorn last year. I think that was
Yes,
your guys'.
Yeah.
I had
What am I doing?
rainbow popcorn all over me by the end of the night.
Oh, my goodness. That sounds like
Yes.
fun.
Popcorn machines are always a success. Okay, now here's what I'm thinking about Juneteenth, and I had mentioned it, and then I got overwhelmed by it, but I have since talked to the principal of the elementary school, the principal of the middle school. I forgot that Micah told us that UCP is having a Juneteenth celebration, so that needs to be followed up on. And I have talked to Professor Mama, who is an African, he comes from Benin, he's on the faculty at Eastern, and he is a storyteller, and he comes and tells stories and gets people dancing. And my initial thought, when I talked to two of my former students who are both Black women educators, and they said, don't have a Juneteenth thing, have a party, because you don't want to send kids off into the summer feeling like we used to be slaves and now I have to be angry. You want to have them celebrate African culture, and you want Juneteenth to be part of it, but you don't want it to be the whole focus. So that was their advice. So then I went and talked to the two school principals. The principal of the elementary school says, we have a room, you can use our room, but we can't help you with anything except opening the doors. But it happens to be the room they use for the cafeteria, and if we wanted to have food, we could have food in there because it's got a place to serve. So Larry in the middle school said he was not optimistic. He said Juneteenth is just a bad day because it's Father's Day, school is out. He suggested I talk to Parks and Recreations. So I think what I'm just doing is updating you and trying to find out what you think about us trying to do some kind of Juneteenth event in Mansfield. What do people think? Hebron has an enormous, wonderful one. And if anybody really wants to go, they can go to Hebron. But what about us?
I mean, would there be a way, because I'm just thinking if we want to make it more of a celebration, if we can, I know it's hard to do it on Juneteenth, because again, I know UCP doesn't do theirs on the actual June 19th, right? But if we do it with them, could we start getting it down the block and promoting Black, owners in the area? So maybe it's not just Mansfield, but, local areas, and supporting Blacks, local owners of business owners. Because I don't know, if we could start stretching down that street, it could slowly grow without us trying to do too much at once, and just kind of growing down that street where UCP is. But I don't know.
Who
Just
should I
suggestion.
talk? I mean, I think I may have bitten off too much more because I got really excited when one of these friends of mine said to me, have a party for little kids, do some dancing, do some storytelling, have cornbread and a few other things, and then have, and then go off and have a summer. And I got really excited about that. But I don't know. I don't know if there's enough time. I don't know if we have the resources and enough people. I'm not going to be here for most of May, and then I'm going away at the end of June. So, I mean, I'm just kind of throwing it out there to see if we have the resources to do anything like that. Katie.
I think something that we've talked about before is being cautious about a very white presenting committee saying we are throwing a Juneteenth party, to make sure that we are not accidentally engaging in cultural appropriation or anything like that. So I think looking at how do we spotlight the Black community and celebrate the Black community is maybe a better approach, rather than how do we throw an event for Juneteenth.
Thank you. You always keep me out of trouble, and I appreciate it. Monica, go ahead.
Could we do something for maybe the newsletter with Margaret? I like the idea of like promoting Black businesses, and maybe we can, put a list together of those and be like, hey, in these days, let's promote Black business. Something like that. I don't know. Margaret will be a good sounding board, I think.
And one of the things that I think we had spitballed in previous years is looking at, could we, do an essay competition for middle schoolers and high schoolers where the prize is like a gift certificate to a Black owned business, whether, it's a local restaurant or, whatever other businesses are in town. I don't know who's local and Black owned, but looking at, it's the work of an essay and the thinking of our young people and understanding what this means, but then it is all still, going towards like money going into the Black community and looking at how that community has been historically marginalized. And, we can't call it reparations because that has a political thing, but like that would be a great conversation that maybe someday Mansfield could have and would be really nice to have, but they're probably not there yet. But this is, a way where we're saying we're putting our money where our mouth is, because we want to celebrate and we want to, acknowledge that this part of our community enriches us so incredibly much.
Okay, Micah, who is coordinating this at UCP? Do you know?
It'd probably be Lindsay. I actually just reached out to her to check on the date that they're doing it. So I just emailed Lindsay. I just saw them earlier today and I just completely didn't think about that. So I emailed them and they're usually pretty quick to respond. So hopefully I'll get a response in the next week or so. And I'll at least know the date that they're going to do it. But they do a great job of the food that they do have. It's all free food for, UCP. But it's all from Black owned businesses, obviously, right? So they're very conscientious of this. So that's why I thought, how can we continue to promote that further down, the street if at all possible? Or I love the idea with just promoting it in the newsletter and getting us to shop there and being really intentional about it to make sure they're going to thrive in our community. So I'll get back to you on that, Jane.
Okay, thank you. Janine.
I have a quick question. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What is UPSI? I heard
Oh,
that-
that's the faculty union at UConn.
Oh,
It's the staff union, sorry, it's,
Staff
yeah,
union.
it's not AACU, but yeah, UCP, it's right in Store Center. AACU's down on 195 a bit further, but UCP is right in Store Center. Yeah, kind of across from Square Peg, a little bit further down.
It's
from
right next to
Square
the
Peg.
garage.
Yep,
sorry.
Okay, that's all right. You don't work there. Janine, what?
Micah, in regards to what you're saying about Black businesses and whatever, are you thinking like Black businesses in Mansfield?
I don't know if we have enough in Mansfield, because I don't know,
That's my thing is,
but local, right? So can we contact Willimantic? Can we pull in from some other areas
There's
to
a-
pull in?
there's a lot in Willimantic, Wyndham area, and it's funny you should say about all that, because Ravine works at Jefferson Fry. It's owned by literally a person who's from Ireland, but a lot of the workers there are of color, whether it be Black, Puerto Rican, whatever, they're of color. And a lot of the other businesses that are popping up, there are workers who are of color. They don't live in Mansfield. So we have people coming for work, mainly because they can't live in Mansfield, so they come in. So yeah, Willimantic, if we can, spotlight those like in Willimantic, Wyndham area, and to go along with that, we may not have businesses that are of color, but we have people in the community, professors, teachers, the football coach at EO, he's Black. So maybe interview them a little bit. I don't know. It's just a thought. Spotlighting individuals in our community who are of color.
I mean, that could
Just a
be
thought.
the essay, like an essay on Black excellence in your community. Who do you see? Who are your community leaders who are representing Black excellence? And there's already the mechanism in place for the Mansfield Willimantic co-supportive restaurants, because the way that we do Restaurant Week is the Taste Two Towns.
Right,
So I don't
that's
think it
true.
would be an
Right.
issue to promote restaurants outside of
Mhm.
town if we're being,
Right.
intentional with it for Juneteenth.
Yeah, and our mandate is Northeastern Connecticut. I mean, we're the town of Mansfield, but we're supposed to be talking to everybody.
Mhm. Right.
I think I need to talk, this is a complete shift and it's fine with me because I get overwhelmed as soon as I start thinking about that, because all I can think of is I got to do all this by myself and I can't. So this is all going to require collaboration, whatever we do. And when you start talking about writing, I can do that. So let's just proceed and see where we go and see what we write. They are doing another witness stone project at the middle school. But Larry said they had very limited resources and it wasn't going to be anything like the first one that they did, but they are doing it and the kids are doing the research and doing all that kind of stuff. Debbie, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, I actually had a speaker come and talk about the Witness Stone Project during a worship service actually on Racial Justice Sunday a few weeks ago. I think of everything that I've heard so far. I really like the idea of the essay contest. And as Katie said, this can be a delicate situation. We don't want to, and I'm not even sure how to put it into words right now because I'm a little tired, but I don't want to take like advantage of someone's skin color to like spotlight them or interview them. But if it's coming from kids doing an essay contest, like who do you know in the area? Where is a restaurant that you've been to? That can maybe, and I guess the spirit of it is, we're all in this together because we care about racial equity and we want people to be recognized for their achievements. But it's, I think with any type of racial or racial equity event, sometimes it's so easy to turn it into okay, now you're using this one date to kind of care about me type of thing. And that's just something that I learned, you know, with racial justice training through the conference of my church. So, but I think, you know, maybe we don't have to do something by ourselves. So I like the idea of collaboration with another organization that's doing something. I love the idea of the Eastern Storyteller, the Eastern Professor Storyteller, and I love the idea of essays at the middle school and high school.
Okay,
And I think the only other piece that we need to
Mhm.
make sure we hit for Juneteenth is making sure that our
proclamation.
proclamation is ready to go at the same time that we're giving town council our Pride proclamation, because they're close together and they tend to
I
be
do
on the
it at the
consent
same time.
agenda
Monica,
together.
can you send that around to everybody, please? Because we have one, it's fine, and we can do it again.
Yep, I'll send that around. It'll be on the next month's meeting, and we'll just throw them both on for the last meeting in May, probably, of the town council.
Okay.
And we should be able to get them through pretty quick.
Good, okay.
Jane, I'm gonna add something really quick onto that, and it might shed some light on perspectives of at least the high school students. That meeting that Ravina and I went to, the St. Joseph's University or Universities, USJP or something like that. They're the ones that went in there and did the investigation. They went in there not just asking questions like, how are you feeling? How are your grades, whatever. They got the feel of the kids and they asked them from there, like, what's going on? What is your perspective? And a lot of the kids, one of the big things that came up, and it made me think of it when everyone was talking, a lot of times, not every single person, but a lot of the students at EO, especially the kids with color, with Black students, they were feeling like they were being pushed into a leader position. They didn't want to be a leader. They just wanted to be heard. So keeping that in the back of our head, I just want to be heard. The community or the school is not there for me. So it's like, when we do this, doing with the essays, it's not just for white students, it's also for, Black students or whatever. But keeping that, and that resonated with me. Like, we were here as community members, and we're trying to help educate the community about human rights, and with all of these events that are coming up. But that just stuck in my head, that they felt like a lot of times they were being pushed into those positions to be a leader, to head groups, to do this. And sometimes that's what the parents would do. The kids had a concern, the kids would present it, and then the parents are like, okay, well, then you should do this, you need to do this. And the kids, they would go along with it. But that's what was some of the things that came back. And the other thing that came back was they had pain, and because they were surprised of the things that were happening, they felt betrayed with their trust. And also it came from bystanders. Something would happen and the bystanders weren't doing anything about it.
Mhm.
So keeping this in head, essays are great, but encouraging all the kids,
Mhm.
you've got to, think about some of those, let them start to think. But we have to be careful, because it seemed like the kids were being pushed into that little, I've got to do this, I have to make it right, or that type of thing. So I just wanted to put that out there, that the information that they came back and what some of they did the quotes from the students, that just that hit me. I normally don't cry, but I had some tears in my eyes.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm sure not everybody doesn't want to be a leader. And that is if the adults listen, it's the adults' responsibility to do something about it. And we have been talking, there's nothing on that piece of paper that surprises me. Because I've had students tell me that and parents tell me that for years. But the adults haven't done anything for the students to make it better. And that's where the issue is. And I don't know what to do about that because they think everything's fine, or they did until they got this report. It's very frustrating. Okay, any other member reports? Has anybody else been doing anything that you want to tell everybody about, Katie?
We still have to do the equity statement.
All right, okay.
I have notes.
Yeah.
You got notes, okay, and I need clarification on this because I read all of the rules about what the equity statement was expected, and my understanding was we've already done an equity statement. The town council has an equity statement, and we're supposed to respond to them. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
So, the
What
town
are we
council
supposed
does,
to be doing with this?
the town council does not have an equity statement. It was the schools that had the equity statement.
Oh, right.
We
Fine.
had, the last time we had met, we had taken that to make sure that it wasn't, that anything we said wasn't either in contrast or made, we wanted it to be, to flow together. But
Got it now.
it kind of got lost at one point. I think it was supposed to go to the town manager, and then we have to talk with the person from Sustainable CT to make sure that it would still work for the gold certification.
Yeah, we had taken the schools and we had added the statement, I think in
We
recognition of
changed,
the
we
need for
changed
students.
students to residents, if I remember correctly, because it sounded like just a statement about schools, and we tried to make it a community statement. Where is the document now? Is that what you have in front of you, Katie?
Yes,
Yep, I emailed it out this week.
yeah. So
Okay,
we had
and it's-
modified some statement where it listed students to residents, then we added the section that says in recognition, because the section of that starts with in recognition of was what we thought was going to check the sustainable CT requirement box to give the town credit for an equity statement. And that one reads, and we had done that in meeting, in recognition of the need for changes to systems that have historically been rooted in systems of oppression that have silenced voices of peoples and communities. The town of Mansfield is committed to intentional practices to make all members of our community feel welcomed and empowered to belong to and participate in their community in meaningful ways. We are hereby committed to the following. And that's what we added as a blurb that we thought was going to tick off the box that we needed to get the sustainable CT points. And then everything else after that was basically the equity statement that the schools had adopted.
Okay, so what is the status of that? We can't vote on anything tonight, but what is the status of that statement?
So we, I believe you actually wanted to meet with the person from Sustainable CT, whose name is escaping me, but we definitely have emailed with her to make sure that that statement was all set. I think that we had wanted to bring it back to the commission to make sure that everybody could get their eyes on it one more time, to make sure that it was what we wanted. To talk to, I think her name is Julie, I want to say, but it might not be.
Okay, I'm just making notes myself.
I did just forward you the equity statement again, and I will find that email and then I'll send that to you, Jane, too. If
I
you,
know how to open up your email, so I won't lose
yeah,
it.
good. And I will, I'll send her email to you again.
Good, and then I'll follow up on it.
Okay, and then what we can do, if there are other notes though, and we'd like to hold this for next meeting, we can also do that, or we can hear what Katie has to say, and if there's anybody else that has anything right now, you could, I think you could do it and just go to them asking, and then we'll bring it back to the commission after we talk to Sustainable CT.
I would like to
Let's
bring
do
what
that
we
one.
have to Julie, whoever she is, and
Mhm.
say, does this meet your guidelines? Is this acceptable? And if she says yes, then I'll bring it back to the commission and we'll vote on it, presuming that we have a quorum to vote.
Okay.
So then I can give you guys the notes, and I don't have them typed up, Monica, but I could type them.
Okay, you
email them
just
to you
type them and
tomorrow.
send them around to everybody, and then we'll
Yeah.
put it back on the agenda next month and we will decide what we're going to do about it. I got very confused. I'm beginning to realize how much I missed this winter, but I know why, so.
So I think for notes wise, what I had, there's 3 instances where they kind of go through the list of based on. and wherever they had written gender, I had crossed out gender to include sex, gender identity, and gender expression. So that it's a more fuller picture of what we're identifying as, like, regardless of all of these things, no one should be discriminated against. Because I think there was a couple of times where it just said generally gender. So I wanted to be a little bit more specific in kind of the language that we're seeing a lot more to be inclusive. And then I had some notes for the training and education section. Because
You're going to share all those with us.
I'm going to read them to you.
Oh, go right ahead.
Because I'm a little spicy today. Because one of the things that, like, I think is really great that the Mansfield Public Schools did when they did their Equity Institute was they had everybody participate. And I think having language in specifically the town component that, you know, it's expected that department heads make their staff available to be able to attend these trainings that we say are important, and that they shall be scheduled in a way that people at multiple shifts can access them, you know, in whatever case we need to do with that. I didn't put any language together around that, but I would want the policy to make it so directors have to let their staff go to these things and encourage their staff to go to these things. Not, hey, if you want to come by, like, we're doing this training, and they
Yeah.
have nobody go, which is what happens when you do optional trainings. Nobody goes. So it would have to be something that, like, there is actual impetus as to, no, not just people who are human services or youth services or, like, you know, people who deal with people. Like, everybody should go. Everybody should know what a pronoun is. Everybody should know how to, like, interface with people who look different than you or speak a different language than you. But also the trainers who are doing it should be members of that group. And it drove me crazy that a very nice white lady was teaching me about racial diversity, because there are so many really good organizations in the state of Connecticut that are specifically
Yes.
owned and operated by people of color. And, like, those are the people we should be paying to present, and we should be
Definitely.
paying them fairly for their labor, and we should be centering their voices. And that is the whole point of it. And so I want that in the policy. And so the way that I have written it,
Right.
in my very spicy mood today, because I'm feeling very spicy today, is in the training and education says, where at all possible, the town will ensure that trainings delivered to staff on matters of diversity, equity, and inclusion are presented by members of the groups that are being discussed to better center previously silenced voices. The town commits to paying these individuals fairly and competitively for their time and labor and training. The town will seek to work with agencies that are owned by members of these groups when contracting with outside training vendors. Wherein, because I used wherein today for whatever reason, wherein the town determines that it has staff of expertise who may be appropriate to offer this training, the town shall pay them a stipend commensurate with outside training providers rather than create additional work for its staff. Because especially when you're talking about, like, oh, you want to make sure that the town doesn't start doing tokenization. Like, if you are asking staff people who are paid to do one job to come and train other people on how to be nice to people, that is a separate paycheck. That is not part of your labor. That is not in your job, like, description. Like, you are not a person who is trained to train other staff unless you are, but I don't think we have anyone with that job title. So, like, if you are someone who, like, the town taps to do training, like, you are getting paid for that as a separate thing, and you're not just expected to do the labor because you happen to be a member of a marginalized group who happens to work at Mansfield.
Right.
Yeah,
that.
I want to follow up on that, because as you're listening, as you're reading all this stuff about we're committed to this and we're committed to that, I cannot tell you how many times I have had conversations with the town administrator, referred a woman who I know is outstanding as an anti-racism trainer, all kinds of things. And as one of my other friends says, crickets. Nothing has happened. And this has been going on for 2 years. And I don't know how to get over that, because we're all so polite. So you've got to put language in there that says what's going to happen if we need consequences. And the idea of making sure that everybody who works for you gets to go and we schedule things at appropriate times. I mean, I did a nurse's training on something or other once in the middle of the night for the people who are on the night shift. And that's the kind of thing we need to be. It needs to be in the language, and somebody needs to have a chat with the powers that be who don't seem to be very responsive. And I am very concerned about that. And maybe you know more than I do. I'm sure you do. But nothing's happening. I made one request. You know that picture in town hall of the three white men sitting on a bench talking to each other, smoking a pipe? It's right at one of the entrances. And
Oh,
I said, could you put a picture of somebody who's not an old farmer at the entrance to the town hall? Please. And Margaret said to me, well, maybe I can get him to move it. That's a very fine. Get another picture, put another picture there and move that someplace else. Still there.
Oh, I'll have to look for that tomorrow.
Yeah,
I-
there's these three old guys hanging around a bench, one smoking a pipe, and they've been here because they're farmers and they live here. But they're not the only people who live here. There is no evidence to speak of in most places in town hall of anybody but the people who have been here for a significant period of time and started out here and look like everybody else who started out here. So I think I've run out of steam with this conversation. Every time I have it, nothing happens. And well, you don't need to listen to that. So as much specific language related to policy and accountability and assessment at the end needs to be done.
Mhm.
Um,
And I
if we're-
know
Do you have
they
a deadline
are
for this document?
doing a increased focus on policy in a lot of places since Maria has started in her new role as CEO of Shared Services. So there are now C-level staffing resources to look at policy. Whereas I don't know that they have those resources previously.
Good, okay, because I got sick of the conversation, so I stopped having it.
Well, thank you, Katie, for your passion and your enthusiasm and your wisdom with this, really. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really good work.
Any other member reports? Okay, I'm gonna run a quick summary of what in my very porous memory. Micah, you're gonna tell me who's in charge of UCP and who's gonna run that show so that I can talk to them. Janine, you're gonna keep working on a story hour someplace sometime, and when you have a very specific proposal, you're gonna do it. You're gonna write it down. I'm gonna write a proposal to Ryan about this interfaith panel. Debbie, you're gonna try to find us a priest, and you're gonna give me 2 sentences of your biography, knowing what a limited perspective that is on your magnificent career in life.
Yeah, I'll get all that to you tomorrow. Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Anybody got anything else that I missed?
I guess the question would be, do we want to assign somebody to develop further this idea of a Juneteenth essay contest? Because if we're not addressing it again until April, we are going to run out of
We're
time.
gonna run out of time. Well, I haven't got the stamina to do it. Monica, what?
I think that if we want to, you could include it in a question to the town manager again with the proposal, just as like a question to put it out there. And then, I mean, run it by the principal at the middle school maybe first. It would be an easy way to know if they would give it the thumbs up quick.
Well, the middle school has some stuff going on. He said it's not the scope of the first Witness Stone project, but they are generating essays and things like that. And so I think that would be, I could follow up with Larry.
Right, I would, yeah, if you're going to already send an email to Ryan anyway, just include it in there, and if he says yes, we know we can run with it, and if not for this year, for next year.
Okay, let me just me.
And if there's any need for financial support for a gift card prize at the end, if it's not already in the HRC budget and we need to pull it from somewhere, let me know. I have grant spending that needs to happen before the end of the year that I'm
Great.
trying to
That would be
reconfigure
great.
a little bit.
I think we do have enough in our budget. I think we've only spent about half of it for this year, so I think we should do. But thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we do have some money and when you have it, you have to spend it. I know, I'm familiar with that experience. Okay, any other comments that anybody would like to share? Thank you, everybody. We will look forward to the minutes and I'll see you next month and I will talk to individuals in between now and then. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Don't
you,
forget next
everyone.
Wednesday.
Pardon me?
Everybody.
Oh.
What about next Wednesday?
That is the community discussion, I think. That
Is
Amy's
this
students,
community discussion?
I think Amy students,
Amy student is next Wednesday.
I think so, if I'm not
Amy
mistaken.
had her surgery today,
Yeah,
so we're waiting to see how she's doing. She won't be there, obviously.
no. And then she'll go for 27 more treatments afterward.
I don't know how she's still standing. Okay, thank you.
All right.
See everybody next month.
Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.